I got some bad news for Randy Orton fans, and in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that news is and why you're going to be disappointed by it. Because I understand that Randy Orton is one of the top tier names in WWE. The only problem is he's not used. In fact, he hasn't been used in 2 months. Look, Randy Orton, he's been off of television since Kevin Owens attacked him with a devastating pile driver on the November 8th episode of SmackDown. Now, while yes, Randy Orton is expected to feud with Kevin Owens when he returns, we don't know when that is, and things just got a little bit more doubtful, which I will touch upon in a minute. Now look, Kevin Owens is in this middle of, he went from being an alliance member, a tag team partner of Randy Orton. They had a lot of good matches, a lot of fun. But in recent months, he's been entering into a feud with Cody Rhodes. Obviously, it started at Bash in Berlin. He turned heel. He took out Randy Orton. He put over Cody Rhodes at Saturday Night's Main Event. And now they're going to run it back in a ladder match at the Royal Rumble. Where does Randy Orton fit in this? Because there's been some speculation that Randy Orton, he's going to do his feud with Kevin Owens, and then that leads to an eventual feud with Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. Now, if you're a Randy Orton fan, or even a fan of Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, I would say that you're pretty happy with that, right? Because Randy Orton, future Hall of Famer, former world champion multiple times over, one of the biggest names in the history of this company, one of the biggest names in recent times. I mean, he's highly, highly praised for his character work, his in-ring ability, and his promos. I mean, he sets the standard, the template, the benchmark in a lot of ways in this business in terms of what to do and what not to do. But at the end of the day, people are wondering, when is Randy Orton going to be returning? And there's been speculation. Could it have been at Saturday Night's Main Event in December? Obviously, that didn't happen. Could it be at the Raw on Netflix debut episode on January 6th? That's a big show. They're loading up the card with big names. You already got matches like CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa, and Women's World Champion Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Could he return at Saturday Night's Main Event too? I think that's January 25th, or maybe the Royal Rumble, right? And people thought, well, you know what? Raw on Netflix, that's a big time show, and they're bringing in top names. John Cena's going to be there, right? And obviously the talents in which I just listed. And what if Randy Orton could make his return on this show? That would be a huge deal, right? And he would get involved in the Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes feud. Well, unfortunately, that leads us to today's video, because Chris Featherstone, Dr. Chris Featherstone, put some respect on this man's name. He works with Sportskeeda, but he's been absolutely crushing it on Twitter with some news nuggets, right? He doesn't tweet often, but when he does, it's accurate. It's a lot of ways like WrestleVotes. And he talked about how he has been informed that Randy Orton is currently not involved in the plans for the debut episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. And that people, well, it got them caught off guard, because it's like, okay, wait a minute. He's been off of television since November. We're 2 months in, still no Randy Orton. What is going on with Randy Orton? And then it got me thinking, okay, when I saw this report, I go, okay, that sucks. We're not going to get him, in the next week or so. But what if he gets involved in the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens match at the Royal Rumble, right? They've recently announced it on SmackDown. This has been something that has been building. They're doing a unification match, right? The Winged Eagle Championship of the version of the WWE title, with Kevin Owens being champion and obviously Cody Rhodes being undisputed WWE champion. Ladder match, Royal Rumble, February 1st. Big deal, right? This kicks off the road to WrestleMania. What if they save Randy Orton's return for the Royal Rumble? What if they save his return for him to get involved in Kevin Owens versus Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes, excuse me. What if that is the way that A, Cody Rhodes retains his championship, B, screws over Kevin Owens, only heating his heel turn up even more, giving him more ammunition for the heel turn, in his heel run, giving him more credibility when he complains about things, right? Because that's the whole purpose of a heel. They have to find some type of truth, and people just don't understand, or they don't get it, or they have to take things to the next level, if you will, of why they're doing these evil and dastardly tactics and antics. And so that would lead to two things. It would lead to the blow-off match between Randy Orton and Kevin Owens at, say, Elimination Chamber. And then, if you wanted to, you could do Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania if they don't do Cody versus Roman, which has been recently speculated about, recently talked about, right? Or you could save the Randy Orton Kevin Owens feud because it is such a big time feud with two big time talents, and that has been building for the last few months. You could do either the first match between Randy Orton and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, or you could do the blow-off match there, right? Either way, it works because you get to your end destination. And if you don't have plans to do Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, say in the next 4 months or so, then you could just simply save it for a SummerSlam or a Money in the Bank or X, Y, and Z, maybe a Saudi Arabia show, right? And that leads to interesting ideas, and that leads to interesting booking, because at the end of the day, we're definitely going to get Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens at some point, and we're definitely going to get Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, because at the end of the day, those are money programs. You already have history that has shown you that Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens is a big-time feud. Kevin Owens is one of the most over guys right now. He's one of the best heels right now. Whenever he's mentioned on social media, engagement goes up. Whenever he's mentioned on television, ratings go up, right? Like, this guy's a legit draw right now. He's doing wonderful things to the point where I've seen people talk about how they would like to see Kevin Owens win the undisputed WWE Championship, even if it's only for a month or so. I don't see that happening, but I can understand their rationale, their reasonable request or their hopeful, dreamful type scenario, right? But at the end of the day, if you had Randy Orton go in there and feud with Kevin Owens, who's one of the most over heels right now in the business, and then, oh, by the way, go into a program with Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship, especially with all of their history, well, that would make for some really, really compelling television. That would make for some very, very interesting promos, and obviously would deliver you results both with promo segments and on TV leading up to it, as well as the payoffs at the premium live events and helping those numbers go up and selling tickets for those shows. That's a lot of interesting things. And so if you're a Randy Orton fan, it's like, okay, y'all, we are about to go on a run, right? Because when Orton first returned in November of 2023, they used him in a pretty prominent way, and obviously he worked Logan Paul at WrestleMania with Kevin Owens, I believe. I think that was a triple threat, and he was part of the Fatal 4-Way at the Royal Rumble, but then he just started teaming up with Kevin and almost felt like he was put on the back burner, if you will, with his booking. Well, now we're starting to heat things up, and we really started to heat things up a few months ago when he entered into this feud with Kevin Owens, when he took issue with what Kevin Owens did to Cody Rhodes and attack him in the parking lot at Bash in Berlin or Bad Blood. I think it was Bad Blood. And, doing the really, really good segment with Triple H on SmackDown a few months ago, right? And talking about Triple H trying to protect Randy Orton from himself, trying to protect him from Kevin Owens. So a lot of intriguing things going on with Randy Orton these days.